Hey everybody, John here for Nintendo World Report, and I have a challenge for you. Okay, you ready? Brace yourselves. I want you to picture an Xbox controller. Okay, just picture your Xbox controller, or your friend's Xbox controller, or whatever Xbox controller you can picture. Picture it in your head where the buttons are, the basic shape of the controller itself, all its ergonomics. Picture that in your head, get it cemented in there. You ready? You got it? Good? Okay. Does yours look something like this? Roughly? Okay, so it might be a different color, but the basic shape is about like this. Basically, the buttons are like this. Okay, good. We're doing good. Good start. Let's do another one. Okay, I want you to picture a PlayStation controller. Okay, same deal. Where all the buttons are, just kind of how it's laid out, the shape of the controller. Got it? You good? Okay. Does yours look like this? Pretty much. Some of the older among us may have left off these analog sticks if we were feeling nostalgic, but this is the basic shape, still there, all the button layout. It's all good. Everybody got that? Okay, good. Excellent. Alright, now, I want you to picture in your head a Nintendo controller. Okay? Same deal. Where all the buttons are, the basic shape of it, all that. Everybody got it? Okay. Is this your controller? Not everybody? Okay, that's okay. How about this one? Is this your controller? This one? Or this one? You see where I'm going with this? You catching on yet? Hopefully. A lot of people like to think that Nintendo just kind of started this whole weird controller thing with the Wii. It's kind of a recent thing. And that Nintendo used to make controllers just like everybody else. Not so much, if we really look at it. If you don't believe me, don't you worry, because I'm about to take you on a huge journey through the epic history of Nintendo's controllers, so you just buckle up. We're going, because we're going. You ready? Doesn't matter. Buckle up for safety. In the knowledge mobile. Alright, Nintendo's controllers. But actually we're not going to start with this one. There's something else we need to cover first. The color TV games. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but the NES, or the Famicom as it's called in Japan, was not Nintendo's first console. It was also not its second console, or its third. The NES was actually Nintendo's 6th console. Yeah, they made 5 before they got to the NES, and that's what we're going to look at now. In the late 70s, pretty much every company had what was called a Pong machine. Nintendo, like everybody else, wanted a piece of that Pong craze. Their first system debuted in 1977 and was called Color TV Game 6. Just rolls off the tongue. It played 6 variations of Pong. The game was controlled by 2 dials placed directly on the case of the console. A year later, Nintendo released an updated console called the Color TV Game 15, which played 15 different versions of Pong, because there are totally 15 different versions of Pong. But here, with console number 2, is where that innovation bug started to hit Nintendo. It's weird to think about, but the concept of separate controllers wasn't something that would have immediately occurred to those first-generation designers. Arcade cabinets had the controls mounted right into the hardware, so why wouldn't home consoles have the controls built right into the console? Where else would they be? Shortly before the release of the first Color TV game, Nintendo had licensed the American-made Magnavox Odyssey for Japanese release. This is likely where Nintendo got the idea for separate controllers. This got the wheels turning. Nintendo, from that moment onward, would ask themselves, how else can you play? Drawing from the Magnavox Odyssey, Nintendo added wired controllers to the Color TV Game 15. As developers around the world continued to pump out Pong machines, Nintendo decided to do something different. Their next console would control completely unlike the previous 2. This new console used a steering wheel and a gear shift. This was a racing game, and for the time, a fairly realistic one. Now, Nintendo could have stopped their innovation there. Not only did they have a steering wheel, but also a gear shift. It was a pretty complex game. But they had made a reputation for themselves making 2-player games. So, that's what they did. They added optional dial controllers similar to those found in the Color TV 15 game, so that if you wanted to, you could play with your friend. Color TV Racing 112 was released into the world in stark contrast to the Pong machines that lined store shelves. So, what was next for Nintendo? More racing games? On the contrary, Nintendo now had a taste of creating a unique single-player experience. Some American named Steve Jobs had recently created a game called Breakout, and it was gaining a lot of popularity in America. Nintendo liked the idea of bringing yet another alternative to Pong into Japan. So, in 1978, they released color TV game Block Breaker. While not quite the innovation that Racing 112 had been, Block Breaker did represent a major step for Nintendo in terms of innovation. You see, in 1977, Nintendo hired a young man to work on the casing for some of their toys. While their video game department was working on Block Breaker, they realized they would need someone to design the casing of the console. This would be the introduction of that young man to the video game department. A man whose name would one day be synonymous with gaming itself, Shigeru Miyamoto. The fifth and final game in the TV game series would be, once again, completely unlike any of its predecessors. Computer TV Game was a port of Nintendo's first independently developed and produced game, Computer Othello. The game's controls returned to their mounted position on top of the console, but made one very important step forward. Rather than control movement with a dial, or a joystick, or a steering wheel, Computer TV Game was controlled via two directional buttons. One moved the cursor along the Y-axis, while the second moved it along the X. What's so important about that? The Computer TV Game would remain one of the only home consoles to use directional buttons until Nintendo re-entered the home console market with their next great innovation, the D-pad. Thank you guys very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single video from Nintendo World Report TV. You can also check out a whole lot of other great content at NintendoWorldReport.com. And if you'd like to see more of me, I recently did a video called Who is Mario, which you can click on right there. And if you run out of videos here and you just can't get enough of my face, you can also check out my YouTube channel where I just did a video review of Hyrule Warriors. Once again, my name's John Rairdin. Thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day. And I will see you in episode 2 of Nintendo Controllers Through Time. That's a terrible name. You should think of a better name.